right, 7.4 is talking about the percent equation. Okay, well, it's very similar to what we did the other day with the proportion method, where you had A over B equal P over 100. But today they're going to set it up as a true equation instead of a proportion. They're going to set it up as an equation, and you're going to use the one-step solving equations that we've learned in chapter 5 at 6. Okay, it's very similar. Everything is still the same as far as what are the pieces to it. You have A, which is the part, B, which is the total, P, which is the percent. Okay, the difference is just like they've stated here. Read this example. On June 14, 2002, the distance between Earth and the Moon was about 375,000 kilometers, okay, between the Earth and the Moon. On that day, a traveling asteroid missed the Earth by about 32% of that distance. How far away from Earth was the asteroid at that time? Now, it's going through what we've used to solve up to this point. You've used the proportion method, which we just talked about, A over B equal P over 100. When you solve for A and write P over 100 as a P percent, you get the equation A equal P percent B. In other words, this equation is what we're going to look at. A, and then there's going to be an is, okay? Then there's going to be a P and of and the letter B, okay? That's what this represents, okay? The is the equal sign. Okay, the of means to multiply. Okay, now obviously the P and the B can be switched. In other words, the B can come first and the P can come second. Not usually, but it can be flipped. Okay, the A is always by itself on one side, the equal sign or the other. All right, now they have taken that example up there. The key words in this are 375,000, 32%. And they want to know how far away from Earth was the asteroid. So this would be the A. So we're looking for the A. We've been given the total. This is the B. And obviously that's the P, the percent. Okay? So we're going to look at the example down here. We're going to do the example. It says, certain words can represent, and this is what we just talked about, certain words can represent mathematical symbols. In the statement A is P percent of B, the word is corresponds to the word is corresponds to the equal sign, and the word of corresponds to the multiplication symbol. So if I look at this example they've given us, all right, 32,000 or 350,000? 375. 375,000 is my B. 32% is my P. And we are looking for A. So they wanted to set it up as an equation, not as a proportion. Okay? We need to learn how to do the equation method. So it's A is equal to 32% times 375,000. That's how we figure A for this particular problem. Now, we're looking for A, so therefore, this is what we do. We multiply. Okay? So, what did we say the other day? We've talked about this in the first two sections of the chapter. When you're dealing with percents, what do you have to do to them before you can multiply or divide? Turn it to a fraction, or, now that we know how to do it, you can turn it to a decimal. So, the 32%, before we can multiply it, we have to change this to either a fraction or percent. Okay, either a fraction or a percent. Okay, I'm going to change it to, or excuse me, not a percent, it already is a percent, my bad, a decimal. A fraction or a decimal. Okay, now, A equals 0.32 times 375,000. Okay? Now, when you multiply that together, you get A is 120,000 miles. So the asteroid passed within 120,000 miles of Earth. Now, to us, that seems like a very, very long distance. Okay? When you're in space and you're dealing with light years and trillions of miles and billions of miles, that's obviously fairly close. Okay? It's all in how you think of things and all in how you see things. Okay? So, let's look at another example. The ones that are easier are the ones that are just a straight sentence. For example, what number is 20% of 45? And really, these are just easier because you don't have to figure out which is the A, which is the B. All you got to do is this. What number is your N? We'll just call it N. It's actually the A. I'll just call it the A, but you don't have to know that. You just need to know that it's a variable. Is represents equal. 20% is 0.20, so 0.20 of means to multiply 45. Okay, so I just translated the sentence into an equation. Okay, now you just multiply it out. That's A is equal to 0.2045, 0, 0. That would add a 0. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry my 1, be 9. I have 2 decimal places. And so A is equal to 9. Now, where people tend to make mistakes in this way of doing it is I always want to throw a percent sign on there. Oh, it just doesn't look good without a percent sign. Well, did we already have the percent in the problem? Yes. So don't slap a percent sign on it. Okay? It's not 9% is 20% of 45. It's 9 is 20% of 45. So if I walked into a store and everything was 20% off in the store, and I found something that was $45, then I get $9 off of it. Okay? That's one of the you're always, where am I going to use this? Yes.
Why didn't you just put 9.0 or 9? Just put 900.
Why did
you just put 900?
So you're not going to do anything with those 2 decimal places? I had to move those 2 decimal places right here once, twice. I can't say that I'm multiplying 20. Because the reason I didn't is because 20 times 45 is 900. So if 20 times 45 is 900, 0.2 times 45 can't be 900. Okay? Because what's 1 times 45? 45. So isn't 0.2 less than 1? So my answer has to be less than 45. And that's why that's the mathematics behind it.
Do you always put a percent sign when you're trying to find it?
Yes. I mean, when else would you put it?
Because you were just talking about how we put it all the time.
Well, that's what people tend to do. They just, no matter what they're looking for, they slap a percent sign on it because they're supposed to have a percent. No, you only. Well, then do it 1,000 times and you won't like it anymore and you won't have to do it. All right, let's look at one that's not finding A. Number 10. Number 10 says what percent. So obviously we're looking for the percent sign. What percent of 500 is 25?
No, it's a P.
Do what? All right, so we have what percent, so that's the P, okay, times, because we have the of, so that's times 500. There's your is, so that's the equal sign, 25. So to translate it into terms we're used to seeing, 500p is equal to 25. Okay? Now, how do we solve that?
I got it. Okay. No. I got something different. I did something different.
Well, then you don't have the answer.
P equal 500.
P equal 500?
P equal 500 times 25, and then I did 500.
No, you can't do that. That's not what that says. I mean, right here, there's the of.
Yeah.
So you multiply a P and a 500 together. How did you get P equal?
Oh.
That's why the little arrows go there, there, there.
Okay.
Quit laughing at your friend.
Yeah, Gracie.
Gracie, what do you do?
Now, what did you do this time? I just said 25 over 100. I mean, 25 over 500, P over 100. I didn't do it.
No, don't do it.
A over B.
Can't do it that way. You're going to get it wrong. Because you're going to get it wrong. Because you got to know how to do it this way. Because we're going to have word problems that you're going to have to be able to do this way. There's several other problems that we're going to have to eventually do this way. Good for you.
No, I know.
Yes, Josh.
Divide 25 into 500.
No.
They just turn something into decimal?
No.
I got 20.
How about you just divide?
What do you do? 500 into
Hey, look. Shh. Hush.
500.
This is a one-step equation. It's very plain and very simple. I'm multiplying by 500. The inverse of multiplying by 500 is to divide both sides by 500. That gives me P is equal to 500 into 25.
20%.
Now, 500 doesn't go into 25. 500 goes into 250, doesn't go. 500 goes into 2,500 5 times. That would be 200, that'd be 2,500, remainder 0. Now, P is equal to 0.05, but I need a percent. So I have to change this to a percent, which means 0.05. I go once, twice to the right, and that gives me P is equal to 5%. And that is your answer.
Oh.
So the only time that you multiply the two things together is when you're just looking for the A, or the number on the other side of the is by itself. That's the only time that you multiply the two things together. When you're looking for the other two things, you must divide whatever you have. Okay? So let's look at another one. If we look at this, 90 is 120% of what number?
Stop doing that. It's so annoying.
Okay? So we have to translate this one. You have that. So 90 equals 1.20 times B. 120% change to a decimal. Now, that's the same thing as 90 is equal to 1.2b. Okay, those are exact same problems. They're equivalent. So now I'm multiplying by 1.2, so the inverse of that would be to divide by 1.2. That cancels. Okay, so I have 1.2 into 90 equal b. So I have to take and move the decimal one place to the right, and that's 12 into 900. Into 900. Now, 12 goes into 90. 8 times? No. 7? Okay. 7 times. Be 84. Remainder 6. Bring down my 0. 12 into 60 goes 5 times.
Are you confused with the decimal? That's what, because I know how to do it, the decimal thing.
What are you confused about?
I was confused with how to put the decimal method. I hate decimals. It's just confusing.
Well, they don't like you either, so. In fact, one of them told me just the other day, I can't stand Haley. Haley just gets on my nerves all the time. I just hate Haley's. That's what the decimal told me. As well, the decimal told me that. It spoke to me the other day.
Every day?
The other day.
Oh,
There's the decimal right there. Okay? The only reason that you would have to bring the decimal up, the only reason you would need to bring the decimal up is if it didn't end in 0. But since the remainder ended in 0, you don't have to deal with the decimal. Okay? I want you to try to do number 16 on your own.
You have a needle?
A needle?
I need it.
So you're going to use a needle.
So it'll go through. I have my board. It itches. Number 16.
16. Do number 16. Okay. Now, let's logically look at this. Okay? They're wanting to know what percent of 80 is 212. Okay? What is 100% of 80? Huh?
20%.
No, shh. Listen to my question. What is 100% of 80? Listen, you don't answer. You got the problem right, so you don't answer. So if I have $80 in my pocket, and I'm going to give you 100% of the $80 in my pocket, I'm going to give you $20. It's 80, not 80%. Quit putting percent signs with it. So if 100% of 80 is 80, is that more than 80? Okay, so this has to be more than 100%. So if you got 26.5%, you got 2.65%, that's impossible. That's not a logical answer. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you how you get it. Most of you probably set it up right because you're getting the correct digits. You're just not getting the decimal properly. Okay? The correct setup is this. Okay? P times 80 equal 212. Okay? So then I divide by 80 to both sides. That cancels on the left side, giving me P is equal to 80 into 212. Now, you always ask, well, why do you put a decimal in zeros? I always do that because I want to keep up with the decimal that hates you. okay, because I want to keep up with it. So now I just divide. 80 doesn't go into 21. 80 goes into 212 two times, be 160, okay, which means I get 52. Bring down my 0, bring up my decimal. So my decimal goes right there in the answer. Now I have 80 into 520 goes 6 times, which is 480. Okay, I'd subtract those and you get 40. Add a 0, bring it down. 80 into 400 goes 5 times, be 400. Now, that is what P is equal to. Well, we want P percent. So you have to take that and move it once, twice to the right, giving me P is equal to 265%. Okay? Now, I've only been doing that for most of you since the 6th grade, showing you how to do that right there with the decimal. You were probably at home, in Johnson County watching Gilligan reruns or something. I don't know. You're just on the 4-day plan, so you come for 4 days, and
I have not missed a day this week.
because we only had 4 to begin with.
Well, I didn't miss a day last
Well, yes, you did.
No, I didn't. What day?
You missed like Tuesday or Wednesday last week. Take it from the person that has to carry your backpack around every day.
I did not miss a day last week.
Yes, you did.
I think it was Friday.
No, I was in Friday.
Last night.
No, she was here Friday. It was like Monday or Tuesday. It was early in the week.
I went to the ER on Tuesday. Yes, I did. No, it was Monday because I remember Sunday you sending me a picture saying when your best friend doesn't come to school, and then the next day you didn't come to school, and I was mad.
Oh, yeah, but you're here every day.
I had to go to the ER because my foot was ugly.
All right, let's look at number 18. Now we're going to translate what we're doing in the word sentences and put them into word problems. Okay? Now, so the music collector has 1,200 CDs and 65% of them were produced after 1990. How many of the CDs were produced after 1990? Okay, so you're looking at, you have a total. Okay, B is equal to the total, and B is 7,500 CDs is what he has. Okay, you have a P, which is the percent, and it says 65, oh, that's 1,200, my bad. Is it 1,200? Yeah, 1,200. 1,200 CDs, not 7,500. You have a percent, which is 65% of those CDs were produced after 1990. Okay, so they want to know how many CDs were produced after 1990. Now, so we set it up the same way. A equals 65% times 1,200. Because it's A equal P percent times B. Okay, but once again, the same thing holds true here that was in the previous problems that we did. To manipulate the percent, I've got to change it to a fraction or a decimal. Now, if you want to, okay, if you're having trouble with the decimal part of it, if it's easier for you to do this, put A is equal to 65 over 100 times 1,200. That's actually, in all honesty, is probably easier for you. Because then all you have to do is this. Cross cancel. 100 goes into 100 once. 100 goes into 1,200 12 times. That's over 1. And so now you just take 12 times 65. Okay. The only difference is, if we do this the same way, it's just this. 0.65 times 1,200. That's the other way. That's the two ways that you're going to have to do this problem. Okay, whatever, they're both going to get the same answer.
Wait, so the answer 780?
Yes. So A is equal to 780 CDs. So of those 1,200 CDs, 780 of them were produced after 1990. Okay, but like I said, I don't care whatever which way is easiest. We can change the percent to a decimal or we can change it to a fraction. Does not matter. You'll still get the same answer. Okay, whatever you see is easiest for you to do. Those of you that don't cross cancel well, I would not suggest doing it the way I just did it, because then you're going to deal with some larger numbers. Okay, try number 20 on your own. All right. Says number 20. Salesperson can earn 4% commission on sales of televisions. If the salesperson's television sales total 7,000, how much is the commission? So they've used the key word in there being total. The total he sold was 7,000. The A or the P is 4% of that. Okay? So 4% of that, and the A, which is what his commission was, that's what we don't know. So it would take 7,000, it'd be A is equal to 7,000 times 4%. Once again, you must change the percent to a decimal or a fraction. If you change it to a decimal, it would be A is equal to 7,000 times 0.04. 0.04 times 7,000 is equal to 280. Or you would have A is equal to 7,000 times 4%, which that is A is equal to 7,000 times 4 over 100. In that case, those zeros cancel each other out, leaving me with A is equal to 70 times 4 and 1 times 1, which A is equal to 280. Make sure you put the dollar sign on it. Okay? So your homework. Homework is 7.4, 7 through 22. Okay? You can go.